What is going on, good people? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good start to their week. Before we get started, please let me know if the audio was good and if the visual is good. Just give me a thumbs up. Um, just give me a thumbs up, but just tell me in the chat that I'm good. How's everybody doing? I'm doing good, man. We got some things to talk about. Again, it's never boring. Even though the New York Giants are out of it, the 2025 season is pretty much over. There's always something to talk about. So let me know if the audio is good, if the visual is good. And then we're going to get a quick roll call. Let me throw the comments in so we can see it. We got some things to talk about. It's going to be a lot more structured because I tend to get out of, structure, kind of like how our quarterback does. I play out of structure a little bit. I'm going to try to organize these things a little bit better. And we got some topics to talk about. We're going to stay on topic. But of course, we're always going to show love to the chat and see what you guys are doing. Let's get a quick roll call going. Shout out to Luann. Luann with the ear. What's going on, Luann? How we doing? My man Team Zavala, what's going on? He said, what it do, SA? What's going on, man? How you doing, man? Team says we asked, but we still support this team. Understand me? That's a fact. That's a fact. Go Big Blue. I see that. Luann said, team, what up? Everybody showing each other love. That's a fact. My man Brandon said, what up, fam? What's going on, Brandon? How we doing, man? My man Danny in the building. What's going on, Brody? How you doing? Thumbs up, thumbs up. We good, we good. All right. Yeah, we about to get to it, Danny. We about to get to it for sure. Shout out to my man DeMarco in the building. Shout out to my man Coach Ed in the building. Coach Ed, how you doing, Coach Ed? Peace and blessings, Peace and blessings to you, Coach Ed. How you doing, man? Haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while. Hopefully everything is good with you, big bro. And this is that guy. That guy says, ripping my trash team now and always. Listen, man. It ain't nothing that we ain't used to already, unfortunately. And Lord Flatbush, what's going on? Shout out to New York. Shout out to Brooklyn. All right, so, yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to keep it a little bit organized today. I got my talking points up there in the corner. You see it. We try to step things up a little bit to keep me on track so I'm not just rambling, even though I do like to ramble a little bit. Shout out to Dan Smith, says Joe Schoen needs to go ASAP. That's a fact. Shout out to Daryl in the building. Quiz letting everybody know, hit that like button. That's a fact. I didn't even get a chance to say that. Thank you, Quiz. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. It'll let the algorithm know that we in the building, and the algorithm will let other Giants fans know that we in the building. Now, like I said, I do have some talking points. I am going to get to the comment section, but I'm damn sure going to be talking about the first topic on the list is Joe Schoen and this presser. Man, I don't like to take joy in other people's misery, but if you saw that presser, this is the first time I ever seen Joe Schoen that nervous. And it was almost to the point where I kind of felt bad for him. Then I remembered what this man has done to this team. And I don't feel bad anymore. I don't feel bad anymore. Respectfully. I don't think any changes are going to happen before Christmas. We could probably lose these last 4 games. They probably still won't move on from them. But I just want to talk about something that everybody heard in the presser, and that was, I understand the question. You had it right, Danny. Where'd it go? Yeah, I understand the question. That's what he understood the question, but he didn't answer it. And shout out to Pat. Shout out to Pat Leonard. Some people don't like Pat Leonard. Some people love Pat Leonard. I like Pat Leonard. When I'm in my mode where it's rah go New York Giants cheerleader mode then Pat Leonard need to calm down a little bit. When it's times like this where things need to change, and you want to make sure that somebody is out there ruffling feathers, Pat Leonard is the guy. Dan Duggan is the guy. Who else was it? Connor Hughes is the guy. Shout out to those beat writers. Shout out to all the beat writers because everybody plays their part. Everybody has their role. But shout out to those 3 guys for asking those questions. Shout out to Jordan Renan, too, because Jordan Renan hit Joe Schoen with a jab on the way out, asking him what if some coaches don't want to work with you. And he said, by the phone calls we received, that shouldn't be a problem. So let's talk about this right now. First question. When you saw Joe Schoen at the presser, What did his face say to you? Um, to me, he looked like he was. Well, first of all, he was like 30 minutes late. It was supposed to start at 1:45. I don't think it started at the 2:15. And when he looked a little bit rattled as soon as it started, he came in with his monologue. You know what his scripted stuff obviously is not good enough. 2 wins is not good enough. And I'm like, damn, when will it be good enough? You keep telling us. Well, one thing he didn't say is we're not far off. Remember, that's what he went to last year. We're not far off. This team is not far off. And he leaned on the draft picks. He leaned on Newbin. He leaned on Phillips. He leaned on that draft class. What did he do this year? He leaned on Scatterbull. He leaned on Jackson Dart. You know what I mean? He's leaning on these guys. He almost leaned on Abdul Carter, but really couldn't do that. We're going to talk about Abdul Carter. You see him on the list. We're going to get to Abdul Carter because I got a lot of words for Abdul Carter. Because we heard, who was it, Albert Breer dropped another, not necessarily a bomb or anything like that, but also he said a couple things about this is not the first time that Abdul Carter has been disciplined. And Brian Dable actually fined him a few times behind the scenes. That's it. I understand the question. I understand the question. Thunder. I understand the question. If you understand, give me the answers. I don't no more questions. Give me the answers. So Joe Schoen, man, I don't feel like he's safe. So that's my first question. I'm sorry. Do you guys believe that Joe Schoen believes that he's still safe, or does he look nervous? I already see people who answered nervous and sweating. That's a fact. My man Danny said, dead man walking. That's the same thing I tweeted too, Danny. Same thing I tweeted. Dead man walking. It's just a matter of time. Brandon said Pat had, hold on, where'd he go? Brandon said Pat had Joe in a pool of sweat. Yo, it was like after a while I felt a little bit, what did they call it? Secondary embarrassment. Like I kind of felt some secondary embarrassment with the situation. But I'm sitting here like, man, I love it. Because you know what? Brian Dable got fired. Week in and week out, he was in front of the podium answering all those questions, post-game pressers answering all those questions, taking all that heat, rightfully so. Even some of the coordinators on Thursday doing their thing, taking some of the heat, rightfully so. And I said it early in the year. I said, I can't wait for him to come up out of that castle and feel some of this pressure. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. And I'm happy about it. I'm absolutely happy about it. But one thing he also, like, he kind of pissed me off too, because he said that, we got pieces. Joe saying, oh, we got pieces. There's pieces here. You've been here for 4 seasons, 4 draft classes, 4 free agency periods, and you still talking about pieces. Where is the team at? Where is the team? I don't care about pieces. Where are this is not year 2. You can't sell me on pieces. Hell, I know we got some pieces. Where's the team at? Where is the team at? How are you leaving this team? At least Dave Gettleman left you with 2 first-round picks. Now, he might have left you in cap hell, but at least he left you with 2 first-round picks. What did those first-round picks turn into? Thibodeau and, of course, Evan Neal. And at the time, draft night, I was excited about those 2 picks. I thought we had, I guess, what we have or what we thought we were going to have in Abdul Carter. Same kind of hype. Abdul Carter a little bit more. But you couldn't tell me in 2022 that Kayvon Thibodeau wasn't going to be a hit. You couldn't tell me in 2022 that Evan Neal wasn't going to be a hit. Shout out to my man Bookends, because at that time, we thought we had bookend tackles. Fast forward, real time, Evan Neal is a bust. Thibodeau getting better, but he's hurt, missed the last 3 games. 5th-year option picked up at least. But we are nowhere near where we need to be. So for me, it's all about cleaning the house. 2 down, 1 to go. 2 down, 1 to go. Joe Schoen is working on borrowed time right now. Let me see what you guys got to say. Yeah. Q Burrow. Brother said, pieces of, you know what it is. Pieces of trash is more like it. We got pieces, man. After 4 seasons, 31 draft picks. Pieces. Not a team. Not a team. What I was to say, practice. Not a game. No, we don't have a team, but we got pieces. We talking about pieces. We talking about pieces here. Pieces. We don't have a team, though. Not a team. It's crazy to me. Thunder says, couldn't agree more with you. Want to go 2 months ago. Yeah, man, listen. It should have, like, if they would have moved on from Joe Schoen the same time they moved on from Brian Dable and it gave Brandon Brown a chance to do some things, then fine. Then fine. It's just getting these guys out of the building to jumpstart the process. Now, there is a slim chance. There is a slim chance that Joe Schoen does stay. Now, that chance is going to take a lot. Like, for the fan base, I think everybody is finally on the same page that, it's time to just burn it all down and start new. I think everybody is on the same page. Shout out to Luann. Luann, you're on the same page. Dable's no longer here. I think you're on the same page. Luann says, no GM is perfect. Give him a break. Really? So we're not on the same page. Okay. All right. And guess what? He said that too in the presser. He said nobody's perfect. I'm not batting 1,000. What else did he say? He had all the cliches in the world. That works after 1 or 2 seasons. Nobody's perfect is fine after year 1 or year 2. Nobody's perfect. But after year 4, we're about to go into a 5th draft class. If he survives this, it'll be a 5th year under Joe Schoen, and we still got as many holes as we did in 2022. And we don't have nearly the same amount of draft picks. We had 11 draft picks in 2022. In some cases, you just can't be the number one. They gave him a shot. Giants gave him a shot. Sometimes you just can't be number one. He can go back to being number 2 somewhere. He might be the perfect number 2 for somebody, but when it comes to driving the ship, handing over the keys to the car, Joe Schoen is just not that guy. Respectfully is the holidays. Keep it respectful. But I'm not doing none of that. He definitely got to go. So again, when he says, I got Jackson Dart, I got Scatterboo, I got Darius Alexander, young promising talents coming up. There's pieces here. Like, Dart is Dart. A lot of people I believe that he is going to be the future franchise quarterback. And I believe Dart is going to be the next subject. So it's going to be a quick segue. I'm going to get to the comments before we get to Jackson Dart, though. Obviously, Dart shows a lot of promise. Cam Scatterboo was damn near the heart of this team before he got hurt. Like, literally, he probably was the heart of the team. And then Darius Alexander is slowly improving and getting better. We saw Marcus Bowe early on in the season. Obviously, Andrew Thomas got healthy. We have not seen him since. But I still like those draft picks. So shout out to Joe Schoen for those draft picks. Shout out to Joe Schoen for some of these pieces. But he still has not built a team in 4 seasons. Also, for the people still wanting to defend Joe Schoen, another thing is this. Just think about the people that are going to be free agents. The Giants are going to be free agents this year. You're not going to be able to bring back some of your favorites. Like, you like Cordell Flott. I like Daniel Bellinger. You like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think we can agree on that. We like Micah McFadden. Just think about this. You probably don't have enough money, or it's probably not a smart thing for the Giants to re-sign all of those guys. It's probably not smart to do that. Now, for me, the number one choice would be Jermaine Eluemunor getting an extension before the season is over. But again, with Joe Schoen being in the position that he's in right now, I don't believe they're going to let him do any kind of signings. I don't think they're going to allow him to do any kind of like major roster moves as far as people that get waived and picked up. We'll see what happens. Maybe the minor moves they let happen. But I didn't like him saying that he was still going to lead the search. I do believe that yes, there's going to be a lot of suitors for this team, but I do believe that a lot of people are just saying it because it's a head coaching job, and there's only 32 of those in the entire world. So some people might bite the bullet and work with Joe Schoen. But I'm telling you, if you start from scratch, you bring in a new GM, then that GM hires his coach and try to get the Maras to stay out of it, the Tisch family, the Mara family, the McConnells. If you try to get those guys out of McDonald, then you might have something. Jay Costell says, Big Dash for GM, stop playing, I will be fired, just like Joe Schoen. I can talk Giants football here. I can, because you know what? I do a lot of things, or I think about a lot of things with my heart first, and then I follow it up with the brain. So I'm too emotional to be, I'm too invested to be a GM for the New York Giants. Obviously, and I'm definitely not qualified, but I would definitely be fired. Luann says we need Wandell. I believe so. I think Wandell might price himself out. Now, I will say this too, man. We got wowed by the production in a couple of games this year. It was last week's game, and then it was that Dallas game where he just jumped off the screen, right? But you really got to think about what Wandell's role is versus not just the Giants, just as far as being out there in the open market. What is his number? Is it 12 million? Is it 15 million? Is it 17 million? Like what is that? And then you have to really be comfortable with giving who you probably would, maybe he's a number 2 wide receiver. If we don't draft a wide receiver in next year's class, but you got Malik Neighbors on a rookie contract, fine. You're already paying Darius Slayton 12 million, and you really can't pay Wandell that much money unless you move on from Darius Slayton, and you have to find a trade partner because you can't cut Darius Slayton because you don't save any money. Thank you again, Joe Schoen. And this is coming from somebody that was high on Darius Slayton going into this season. But he has shown and proved time and time again that, yes, he can flash at times, but when you absolutely need him, when you need to depend on him, you know, he falls short. So do you have Malik Neighbors, and then you're paying Darius Slayton 12 million, then turn around and paying Wandell 12 to 15 to possibly $17 million. Now, $17 million sounds ridiculous for me for what Wandell is, because he's still a limited wide receiver, even though we saw him do different things this year. But when you're talking about almost $20 million, to me, he does not fall into that category, respectfully. Now, he can go and get it anywhere he wants. Pause. Now, if somebody wants to offer him that much money, fine. You know, get your money. I don't want to stop people or discourage people from getting money. I don't want to hate on another man's pockets. I don't pocket watch. I'm just saying, for the New York Giants, if I'm thinking about it, how do we justify paying Darius Slayton $12 million, Wandell Robinson $15 million, and then we draft a rookie wide receiver who's going to be playing most likely in front of those guys? How do we do that? So if you want to keep Wandell, most likely you're going to try to find a suitor for Darius Slayton, and you tell me one team that's going to take on that contract for Slayton. Now, if he would have had 1,000 yards this year, you know, a couple more touchdowns, like if he had 1,000 yards and possibly 7 to 8 touchdowns, maybe he's a little bit more desirable for another team to trade for, somebody that needs a wide receiver, somebody looking for a third wide receiver, because I know for sure now, I thought possibly he can be a number 2, but after this season, I think his ceiling is a number 3 wide receiver. His floor is a 4. But yeah, it's kind of hard to think about that, about paying that man so much money. So let me get to some of these comments, man. Shout out to my man Mark Thompson in the building. Says, good night, Dash. How you doing, Marcus? Said, I was thinking Shane was really not in control and on the hot seat, even though the messaging was saying otherwise. Then the presser happened. He needs to go. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to, is it Don Hallstrom, 8175. He says, even if Shane is fired, the 4 amigos are going to pick the new coach and GM. Tisch doesn't know the difference between a football and a frisbee. The Maras have been the constant to bad football. Yeah. So I've been down this road, Don. I've been down this road, and I've seen a lot of people talk about the Maras, the family. And the sad part is that is something that Won't change unless somebody comes in and offers them a lot of money, an offer that they cannot refuse. We're going to be dealing with these Maras, whether it's John, Chris, Donald. Who's the fourth guy you're talking about? Who's the fourth guy? But you said the four, amigo. Oh yeah, Tish. And listen, to your point, Tish only shows up when it's time to have discussions. Other than that, he's in California on the beach drinking. Respectfully. Producing movies. Obviously, his family owns Lowe's, I believe it is. I believe it's Lowe's that they own. So he's already making money anyway. The issue is this, and shout out to the spaces, the Twitter spaces, or I should say X spaces, because they talk about that third option. Obviously, the New York Giants sold 10% of the Giants to was it Julie Koch. And when you looked at how much money her alone, not her family, her alone, how much she is worth, $80 billion, I believe it is. Now there's a chance for the New York Giants to possibly, or I should say the Maras and the Tisches, to be bought out. Not saying it's going to happen soon, but who knows? Next 5 years, depending on what happens with John Mara, hopefully he heals up. Hopefully, he has a good fight against the issue that he's dealing with. Keep it respectful. But who knows, man? They might offer Mara and the Tisches enough money for them to step to the side, and then we have to figure out, who or what direction they move in from there. JDJ says, how many, I understand the question had to be dropped by Dable Joe in the exit meeting last year with Mara to get them to get another year. I don't know what they sold John Mara last year, but they definitely were lying. I know what John Mara said. He said that he didn't want to see offenses move up and down the field on us. And we saw that happen this year. Speaking of that, we got rid of Shane Bowen, and then Charlie Bullen looked just as bad. We did show a little bit more aggressiveness. He did send a little bit more blitzes. We saw some corner blitzes. Didn't quite get there every time, but we did get some pressure. But it didn't work because you saw them just checking down to the hot route. Drake May put on the clinic. Goldie says Tish was at the Pats game supposedly and was furious. I mean, yeah. I'd be mad too. I was pissed off. You was pissed off. Everybody was pissed off watching that game. That dark friend says John Mara just does not have a good feel for football or football guys. And that's another thing too, man, because I remember seeing, and this was years ago, we've been mad at John Mara for a while. Just thinking about it. I've been mad at John Mara, and we've been talking badly about John Mara for a long time, at least since Coughlin got fired. But I remember like Chris Mara, the younger brother, I remember people saying that he was the football guy. He was the guy going out there scouting players. He was a guy that was right under his grandfather's arm. He was a guy under his father's arm. Just football guys. Like Wellington was a football guy at the end of the day. And a lot of people said John Mara wasn't really the football guy, but he was the oldest, so he took over. But then we see how this reputation has kind of like rubbed off on the rest of these guys. So you have people feel like Chris Mara is bad. People feel like Tim McDonald, who's the nephew, is bad because he's the son of the sister of John Mara, Chris Mara's sister. That's McDonald. And they kind of all have this, you got to get all of them out of here type of residue on them. So for me, it's just like, is Chris Mara really that bad? You go to look at some of the decisions that were made as far as the draft before Shane got here. When you look at some of the draft picks, when Gettleman was here, when Reese was here, they said that Chris Mara, was heavily into scouting then. So how much of that decision making was really, on the Maras, and how much was that the scouting team, the general manager, and stuff like that? But we can keep on talking about that for a while. My man Danny says AP is the perfect DC that Abdul Carter needs. I might listen. Maybe. My man Mark says Shane was compromised, didn't want to fire his friend. Should have. That's a fact. That is the first significant reason for his failure. He is late to admit to the error of his waves. What do I always say? the New York Giants are always reactive instead of proactive. And even at the presser, he said that the firing of Dable came from up top. So he didn't even have the heart to fire Dable himself. That's what I get from what he said. The ownership made the decision to fire Dable. I agree with it. So you didn't even have the conversation with Dable. Say, hey, you weren't even man enough to call him into the office and fire him yourself. You had the owners do that. And it probably wasn't John Mara dealing with what he's dealing with. So you're telling me Chris Mara, Steve Tisch, and possibly McDonald were the guys that fired Dable and not the GM? Again, it shows weakness. And then at the podium, we saw his weakness as well. Big Moo is in the building. He said, yo, Big Dash finally getting in, bro. Now we just getting started, man. We just getting started. Shout out to the new member, too. Shout out to, is it Zizu? Zizu 18 becoming a new member of the Big Blue Nation. Thank you for the love and support. Shout out to you. TD Midas says, Shane don't pay the rent. Next month, you're out of here. He ain't got to worry about it. Key card will get declined. It will get declined. Hold on. I saw a comment I want to get back to. Okay, I addressed that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna leave that alone for a second. If you guys want to keep on commenting on that, go ahead and do that in the comment section. I do have at the end of this, once I get through my talking points, we are gonna chop it up in the chat, Q&A style, or whatever you guys still want to talk about. Next subject, Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart has been, I guess, the topic of everybody yesterday and today. You're talking about your major media platforms, sports media platforms. You got First Take talking about them. You got Pat McAfee talking about them and stuff like that. So I'm gonna ask you guys this question, right? Jackson Dart and the way that he plays ball, the physical nature, his competitiveness. Do you have a problem with the way that Jackson Dart plays football as a quarterback? So let me know in the comment section. You can, do you have a problem with it? Yes or no? Do you feel like it's going to be a problem moving forward? Do you think that we're over exaggerating? That it might be a problem. I got into an argument on Twitter. Pat McAfee put up a clip of his video, and they kind of messed up. I know they probably didn't mean it, but they said that Jackson Dart has already had 4 to 5 concussions. No, he's been in the blue tent 4 to 5 times. He has not had 4 or 5 concussions this season. And then you saw the same thing being said on ESPN, on Fox Sports. They over exaggerate things to try to drive home a point. And then you have other players agreeing with Jackson Dart, saying that, yeah, you are going to get hit. It is football. It is a physical sport. For me, I'm thinking about it like this, right? Obviously, nobody, we already know that you're tough, Jackson Dart. We understand that you're a tough player that has been proven. We just need you to be just a little bit smarter. And not saying that he's dumb. I'm saying that he's competitive to a fault in some occasions. And then also, like, people point out that one hit on the sideline, that I've been hit before. And when you get hit like that, you saw the way it's more momentum than anything. The way he hit the ground and rolled up, he didn't get it wasn't a hard hit at all. He was able to pop back up. It just looked crazy because he went flying. He went flying. But I'm sitting here like, he said, I love the partial. Who are we talking about? Delusional Patriot says you are going to get hit, but as a quarterback, don't volunteer. That's a great way to say it. Shout out to Delusional Patriots fan. Now that's a fact. You're gonna get hit, but as a quarterback, don't volunteer the hits. That's actually perfect. I'm gonna run with that. So yeah, so for me, I don't want Jackson Dart to change. We saw what happened last week, or I should say in the Patriots game. They did not call any design runs. We pretty much saw that. Anytime he took off, the play was breaking down, and he decided to make a play with his legs. But we really didn't see any too many design runs. And I think that the coaching staff made a conscious decision not to do that. But the way that they called this game, it was heavy run, trying to establish the run, a little bit of play action, and it really wasn't working. So in some cases, maybe you do call those quarterback design runs, but at the end of the day, it's all about what Jackson Dart does when those plays are called. To you guys' point, slide, get out of bounds. So for me, I don't see a problem with the way that I don't have a problem with the way that he's shows his competitiveness, his competitive nature. I don't have issues with that. But again, it's already been proven. It's already been proven that you're tough enough. We understand that you're tough. We just need you to play smarter, because at the end of the day, we see what happens. Well, Jameis Winston stepped in and did a pretty good damn job. We still didn't win games, but we wanted your best ability is your availability. And if you're sitting on the sideline, or you're not even in games because you're in the blue tent, or if you're concussed, that ultimately that hurts the team. That really does hurt the team. Shout out to the Big Move with the $2 super chat. Says, love physical nature of Dart, but just pick your spots. That's a great way to put it too. That's a great way to put it. TD Midas says, once he has a wide receiver one, which he does, he just didn't have him this year for too long. He'll scramble less because Leak will be open. That's another thing too I noticed, man. You see how long he was scrambling in this past game, and nobody got open for the most part. Like, where's the scramble drills? Well, what happened to the scramble drills? Like, everybody's watching Dart instead of scrambling to the ball, trying to make a play. At least that's what I got from it. Because he was doing a lot of moving around and trying to extend plays, and you saw these guys were covered, but you also saw him staring at Jackson Dart. You can't stare at Jackson. You can't be mesmerized by the kid running around. You got to make a play. You got to hit the scramble drill. Danny says, I don't have a problem with Dart playing style, but he has to learn that sometimes minimizing his toughness on the football field is not always a bad thing. We need him to have longevity. Now, we saw him the day after the game at the podium. They asked him questions. He seemed to be pissed off about it. He said he's not going to change his style. I understand frustrations. I understand that. I understand him being upset at the amount of questions being asked. I saw Bobby Skinner and Jordan Renan's podcast, and he even Bobby Skinner told Jordan Renan, "Why are you guys wasting the same questions on Jackson Dart? There's other questions that we need answers to. Why are you keep asking him about taking hits and not sliding and not getting out of bounds?" Like, Dart knows, man. Dart knows. He has enough people talking to him about it. We're gonna get to that too, Isaac. I see you. I just need him to make that effort, because it's going to be a thing now. Every time Jackson Dart gets touched, somebody's going to be, well, he hasn't learned, and it becomes an issue, and it becomes a talking point that I would like to avoid. So hopefully he plays smarter. Again, you don't have to not be aggressive or competitive. There's times and places for everything. But when you got a chance to get out of bounds, and you're sitting there trying to tightrope for an extra what? I could see if you're going to break it for a touchdown, you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you knew you didn't have to go for that extra half a yard. You could have stepped out of bounds. And then you got Theo jumping in, and what would have been a 3rd and 1 turned into what? A 3rd and 16, because of how they feel about Jackson Dart, and because of how big of a story this is now. Everybody feels like they have to do the extra if something happens to Dart, and then that's when you see penalty flags happen and stuff like that. So please, Jackson Dart, is just not about you. It's just not about you, but it's about the team. It's about the team at the end of the day. So let me get to some of these comments about that. JDJ says Kafka didn't run one design run for Dart, and it felt like he was neutered. We can't play Dart like he's Glass Joe from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Shout out to Nintendo. Shout out to Mike Tyson Punch-Out. Glass Joe was the first one. He was the first one. Remember how he used to fall down? For some people don't remember. You guys are gamers. You understand. That ain't flying over too many people's heads. But yeah, he's not Glass Joe. He is a tough quarterback. I do feel the same way that you feel. I felt like they made a conscious effort not to run him. Now, a lot of people were saying that. Like, a lot of people saying, hey, we want to see him operate more out of the pocket. But you don't, using the words that you used, you don't neuter him. You know what I mean? You don't take that away, because guess what? You took it away, and guess what happened? He still got hit hard. So whether you call the design runs or you don't call the quarterback design runs, he's getting hit. He's going to take a hit anyway. He finds a way to get hit trying to make a play. But it is what it is. Seth Dawkins says, I understand the questions. I understand the questions. Don says, Dart said, I have played this way since high school, but he didn't play against anybody who weighed 260 pounds and runs a 4.5. In other words, remove his head from from his third point of contact and slide on it. Listen, that's an absolute home run comment right there. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they're not hitting like that in college. At least the majority of them not hitting like that. Everybody in the NFL pretty much is hitting like that except for the New York Giants. I wish we showed that same type of aggressiveness. And that hit on Jackson Dart overshadowed some of the other hits these guys took too, because Wan'Dale Robinson got popped too. Tracy got popped. A lot of these guys got popped. But yeah, that's the one thing too that I hated about that game. Is like you saw that there's clear levels to physicality, and whatever Vrabel has done, those guys have bought into it. And that Patriots team, remember, they drafted right after us. They were just as bad as us last season, and now they're at the top of the AFC. Make that make sense when you have the right people in the building. Because just thinking about their roster too, there's not a bunch of names on that roster. How many superstars are on that roster? You got Drake May, you got Stephon Diggs. Outside of that, everybody is what? Good players, solid players. Even when you look at the offensive line, good players, solid players. Ain't too many real superstars on that team or big names on that team, but guess what? It is a team, not a collection of players, and definitely not just pieces. Like Joe Schoen says, pieces. Big Moo says that it kind of looked like Dart's right foot was on the sideline before he got hit. It was, listen, I'm a Dart fan. I'm a Giants fan. Wasn't nothing dirty about that hit, in my opinion, because everybody said the same thing. Yes, it was a hard hit. Yes, it looked like it could have been close, but when you look at the replay, it was clean. It was clean, absolutely clean. Now, if they would have threw the flag, I would have gladly took the flag, absolutely. If they would have threw the flag, I don't think you'll get too many arguments. But when they don't pull the flag on that play, and you look at it in slow motion, it was clean. It was clean. Stephen Bloom says it did. Oh, he talking about Big Move. Hold on, where'd it go? Isaac Moore says he's tough, but he's not built like Josh Allen. Come on, bro. Very true. He's not 240 pounds. He's not 6'5". He is 6'2", 225 pounds. Like he's not a little guy. Even when you see him, he's not a little guy. We've seen him run over people. We've seen him drop the shoulder. We've seen it work. We just know that he can't keep doing it. You know, he's not Bryce Young. You know, he's not Purdy. He does have some size on him. But to your point, he's not Josh Allen. He's not Ben Roethlisberger. He's not any of those big mobile quarterbacks that we've seen over the years. He's definitely not Cam Newton. It is what it is. Shout out to my man D Brown in the building. Stephen Bloom says, bro, the helmet to helmet was crazy. You talking about the hit on on Gunner? And I do apologize for laughing. I see the picture of the helmet in my head, and the comment that I made, they really knocked the N off of his helmet. They knocked the NY off of his helmet. That's crazy to me. A lot of people, there's a term that you say when you get cut down to the white meat. The helmet got cut to the white part of the helmet, to the white meat. How do you knock? And it was so perfectly. It was just the end. The Y was still there. It was just the end that was gone. It's symbolic to the kind of game it was. Super physical. Obviously, Gunner's going to be in concussion protocol. We do have the week off. But prior to that, I'm going to stray a little bit. But prior to that, Gunner Olszewski, right? Even before that hit, Gunner Olszewski, to me, he's solid. You can trust him. He's going to catch the ball. He doesn't drop too many, returns, whether it's kickoffs, punts. He's as safe as it gets. But when he's running and the ball is in his hand, he does not have that much wiggle. He has issues finding the lanes. Like he ran the 2 times prior to that, he ran directly into the teeth of the defense of the kickoff team. Like you're supposed to find your lane, but I'm not going to keep talking about him because he is in concussion protocol. That dark friend says crazy how we were more physical than the Eagles earlier, and now we look soft. That's crazy, right? But it just goes to show you that there's levels. There's levels. Now you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're having issues too. They just dropped 2 in a row. They look like they're getting out physical. But the way that the Pats were hitting, it was just different. You heard it watching the broadcast. Pads was popping like crazy. Like it's a different level of physicality than the New York Giants have seen. And I think it has everything to do with Vrabel and what he brings to the table and the type of teams that he coaches. Think about the Tennessee Titans when all those years he was there. Physical teams, offense and defense. And you look at the New England Patriots, a lot of that roster, some of those guys are from the same team as last year. They did make some changes and stuff like that, but it's about coaching and the team buying in. The guy that hit Gunner and the guy that hit Jackson Dart, same guy, Ellis, undrafted free agent, journeyman, found a home. And then you saw at the post-game presser, Vrabel talking about Corey Durden. Corey Durden was a New York Giant a year ago. And then Vrabel put the perfect battery in his back. He's old and, he wasn't good enough for the Giants. The Giants just threw him away. He was trash. And, we got him. And like, wait a minute. Pump the brakes, Vrabel. Why are you saying all this? Durden had snaps. He played. We brought him up from the practice squad a few times. Now, yes, we did cut him just like we cut Isaiah Hodgins, and we regretted that. But I tell you what, we could have used a Durden in this game for sure. Because he did make plays. He did flash the certain times that he was called up. The Big Moose says Vrabel had his guys hitting. Yeah. They did. They were fired up. It was, what was it, 30 degrees out there, I think, with the wind chill. Felt like 17, so the pass was going to pop. It's so cold. It's just even louder. And again, out physical this. Clearly. It wasn't even close. Shout out to my man Dope Dez in the building. Said Big Dash is sad. Brian Flores would have been perfect to get this defense and Abdul Carter right, but he messed it up. True. All right, I'm gonna move to the next point. This probably be a little bit quicker. It'll be a little bit quicker. JDJ says, "Damn, Patch knocked the Sonic rings out of Olszewski." That's a fact. It's not funny. Like, it's really not funny. The helmet is funny to me. It's not funny that he got knocked out. Like, it was clear. You saw the ball. You saw his hands. That's a clear indication. If somebody's knocked out, look at their hands. That's it. The hands look, what sleeping hands look like. And that's what he had. He was asleep before he hit the ground. Actually, I think the ground woke him up. And that's not even a joke. That's just, I really believe the ground woke him up. Is it Miss Aveline? Miss Aveline says Vrabel is a real coach, a man. That's a fact. And a lot of people, when we talk about the coaching hunt and guys that we could possibly bring in here, we're looking for that type of guy. We're looking for a Vrabel. Now, people can talk about John Gruden. People can talk about Mike McCarthy. They're not Vrabel. It's different. That's a defensive-minded head coach, Vrabel is. Obviously, he got a chance to lean on Josh McDaniel, a guy that's been an OC in the league for almost 20 years. So he don't even have to worry about that offense. Josh McDaniel has that offense. Fine. He can just focus on his defense, and you can see that he has his hands all over this defense. They're like 53, or I shouldn't even say 53. They're like 11 people on defense that are mini Vrabels out there. You got the cornerbacks hitting. You saw Gonzalez hit Wan'Dale Robinson. Your cornerbacks are hitting, safeties are hitting, linebackers, defensive line. Everybody is hitting on that team. Everybody is physical. Meanwhile, when you look at the Giants on defense, why do we look like we're catching everybody? When I see the New York Giants, they're hugging people. They're catching people instead of laying the wood on people. Pause. That's what we used to say. We lay the wood. Now lay the wood has crazy connotations and stuff like that. But that's what we used to do. You got to lay the wood. Pause. But we don't have hitters like that. I saw Bobby Okereke do it once in that game. Even when you see Brian Burns, like he holds quarterbacks. He holds them, swings them down. Where is the physical? Like Drew Phillips, he hits. Even Cordell Flott will throw his shoulder in there sometimes. But we do a lot of catching. We saw Belton do it at the Denver game at the goal line stand. But not everybody has that same mentality on his team, man. It's a lot of soft stuff happening. And like it's not only do we need a GM and a head coach, we also need somebody that can get into the heads of these players and turn that switch on, man. Turn that switch on. Shout out to my man Tyrone Hall with the $2 super chat. Says Giants are soft from the top down. 100%. 100%. You saw you saw Shane at the podium, man. When your GM is sitting there sweating and nervous, what does the rest of the building feel like? These guys are like they can't even really coach the way that they want to coach because they're worried about not having a job next year. From the positional coaches to the coordinators to the staff to your management, all these guys are thinking, when the season ends, I might not have a job in 2026. So how can you coach these guys when you got all this stuff you're worried about? I might not live in the same city. I might not be in the same state. There's a lot. And again, that's why all of this stuff needs to just happen already. Go ahead, rip the Band-Aid off, get rid of Joe Schoen so that everybody knows that we're absolutely cleaning house and it's not, there's not a chance that the same people that are responsible for the New York Giants looking the way that they look right now outside of ownership, because we can't do nothing about that. These guys are gone and we're going to find somebody new. And who knows? Hopefully the next person is good enough. But that's not even a guarantee either. Luann says, Dash, do you remember when Ahmad Bradshaw was running in the snow in Buffalo? We needed that win and the end fell off the helmet. I loved Ahmad Bradshaw. And I do remember that game. I believe it was the left sideline that he was running down in the snow. He already ran funny, but him running in the snow was even funnier. Yeah. But that's the kind of physical, because just Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw, like a lot of people say, Brandon Jacobs, they remember him in the Washington game running over Landry, right? Or just running over people, period. Who was it? I remember what he did to Woodson. Oh, my God. But Ahmad Bradshaw, he was a physical runner, too. He reminds me of what Scatterboo's doing right now. A compact running back, not the fastest, not the strongest, but just physical as hell and had that style. And that's why I like Scatterboo so much, too. And the 44 suits him. The 44 suits him. He didn't even want 44 at first. Remember that. It suits him now. He can't get rid of the 44. Shout out to them. I see some mentions of Mike Tomlin, man. You know what's crazy about the Mike Tomlin? I'm going to get to Jermaine Eluemunor next. With the Mike Tomlin thing, this is the first week where I felt like it could be a possibility that Mike Tomlin is not a Pittsburgh Steeler. Or is not the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'll tell you this right now. Some people will look at Mike Tomlin and say, you know what? Yes, he's been a winning coach every year. He never had a losing season. But then they critique his coordinators. Outside of Bruce Arians, outside of Dick LeBeau, who are his token hirings that he can lean on? Where is Mike Tomlin's coaching tree when he really doesn't have one? And some people see that as a weakness, but I'll say this about Mike Tomlin. If you want somebody to change the standard, if you want somebody to bring back, a winning culture, Mike Tomlin is the guy. So if Mike Tomlin does not return to the Steelers in 2026, how could he not be number one on the list for the New York Giants? He fits everything that the New York Giants want. Do I think it happened? I still don't think it happens. Obviously, you still got the rest of the season. They're still in the mix. They're fighting for for first place in the AFC North. Them and the Ravens, they've been flip-flopping for 2 weeks now. It was Pittsburgh, then it was the Ravens, and it was Pittsburgh. Now it's the Ravens again. So we'll see what happens there. But I am going to keep that keep that idea in mind that if Mike Tomlin is fired or part ways from the Pittsburgh Steelers, if he doesn't want to take a little bit of a break because he's been coaching for almost 20 years, how is he not number one on the list for a lot of people? I don't know. Danny says, Dash, what you think of the idea of Joe Douglas or Louis Riddick for the GM spot? Louis Riddick been trying out for a been interviewing for a lot of in a lot of cycles, and he for some reason he just doesn't get a job. He's been around a lot too. Unfortunately, I think his name comes across a lot too because of the Rooney Rule. And again, that's the reason why I personally do not like the Rooney Rule. I think that the principle of Rooney Rule is fantastic, but I believe it's abused, and I believe that they waste a lot of people's times. But Louis Riddick is always going to be a guy that's probably going to be available for the cycle. Brandon Brown is also going to be possibly somebody that can get an interview for the GM spot. He does bring that, I guess, continuity because he's been here. But again, if you want to clean house, you got to clean house completely. How do you guys feel about that? If we get rid of Joe Schoen, do you keep Brandon Brown and then let Brandon Brown pick the next coach? Or do you feel like this entire regime got to go? For me, I still feel like this entire regime has to go. But let me know that. I can't wait to get to this Abdul Carter thing, man. But I'm gonna talk about Jermaine Eluemunor. All right, so Jermaine Eluemunor, right? Jermaine Eluemunor in a contract year. We have not made a move. We have not extended Jermaine Eluemunor. Me personally, and I made a video back in like August or possibly even July of players that I would extend before the season started. Jermaine Eluemunor was first on that list. Micah McFadden was on that list. Also, Cordell Flott was on that list. And I felt like, after the season, these guys, the price tag is just going to go up. Well, Micah McFadden ends up getting hurt the first game of the season. Jermaine Eluemunor ends up doing a fantastic job this season, in my opinion. His best season so far as a professional. And we're looking at him like his price tag is probably going to be sky high now when you should have got the deal done in July and probably saved yourself a lot of money. So that's another knock on Joe Schoen. You have guys that are coming up on a contract year and you have not extended anybody yet. So now he might not even have the chance to re-sign anybody, because normally when guys get re-signed, you see it happen in the bye weeks. You have that week, that week in the season or that break within the season where the GM can step away from doing what they're doing and they can talk to these agents and try to get a deal done. Well, who knows if he even has the power to extend anybody right now. I think they're just holding him over until the end of the season, and ultimately he's going to get fired. But Jermaine Eluemunor to me is probably the number one priority for the New York Giants. I don't care who the GM is. I don't care who the coach is. Jermaine Eluemunor, I believe he's still 29 years old, about to be 30. He can play at least another 4 years. You're probably going to get at least 3 to 4 prime years of Jermaine Eluemunor. So to me, it just makes sense to give him a contract or an extension. I saw a tweet that he put out yesterday. And he says, just talking to the fans. And shout out to Jermaine Eluemunor. He's active on social media. Sometimes he replies, sometimes he doesn't, but he's absolutely active on social media, stands up for the Giants against other trash talkers. Like, shout out to Jermaine Eluemunor, man. He's a stand-up guy. But he put out a tweet and he said, I'm going to give it my all in these last 4 games. And for me, the last stuck out in that comment, these last 4 games. So to me, that communicates to me that his agents probably haven't had any calls yet from the New York Giants. This might be a play to try to, get some contract talks, because just think about when he put out that comment at the bye week. Maybe he's trying to get a deal done with the New York Giants on this bye week, and who knows if they're actually able to work something out. But Jermaine Eluemunor, to me, has to be priority number one, because if you want Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo and Malik Neighbors to succeed, this offensive line has to continue to play better. And they're doing a good job. They have improved a lot, and Jermaine Eluemunor is a big piece to that. Now, some people will say, well, if he's asking for too much money, you got Marcus Bowe right now who can step in and be the right tackle right away. And you're absolutely right. He could step in and be a good right tackle right away. But we know right now that Jermaine Eluemunor is a good right tackle, one of the top right tackles in the league when we think about it. And there's no guessing that. It is what it is, and you can pretty much project him to be the same way moving forward. So for me, Jermaine Eluemunor is a no-brainer. That'll be the third question for you guys. Let me know how you guys feel about Jermaine Eluemunor. What is your walk-away price on Jermaine Eluemunor? Because right now you have some people saying that, because he's making, I believe, and Mark Thompson, if you're in here still, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this year he's making anywhere from $7 to $8 million. That's what he's making. I thought if we would have got a deal done in the summer, we probably would have been able to get the deal done for about $12 million per, because he has not played this, the 2025 season yet. You can probably get it done for 12, possibly 14 million. That's that doubles what he was making. And then now when you look at the right tackle market, top right tackles can make upwards to $20 million. So as a New York Giants fan, and you're sitting here with 2 wins, and yes, the offensive line is better, but does that justify you paying Jermaine Eluemunor $20 million? I feel good about paying Jermaine Eluemunor 14, 15, even $16 million. But once you get to the 17, 18, $20 million range, and I know it's really not like a big difference. It's not like paying them $25 million. But when you look at all of the other holes that the New York Giants are going to have, and how much money that you have is limited, obviously you can make some moves. We'll talk about that on Saturday's show. But how do you feel? Like, to me, Jermaine Eluemunor has to get done. Has to get done. Let's see what you guys said. Miss Aveline says Jermaine is 30. Sign him, have stability, and roll with it. That's a fact. That dark friend says Eluemunor, we need Eluemunor re-signed, but looking grim. It's crazy. And now that I'm thinking about it, him putting out that tweet, when he put out that tweet, because it's the bye week and a lot of deals get done on bye weeks, I think that was a play. And, if Joe Schoen still has the power to get deals done, hopefully that's one of those deals that can get announced, this week. There's still 2 more days left in the week. We'll see what happens. TD Midas says, Jermaine, we need him, and he likes being in New York. That's a fact. We can't shuffle our second next lineman after a decade of a terrible blocking. Hold on, shuffle our second. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, no, he's important to this team. And as much as I think that Marcus Bowe is going to be good, I know Jermaine is good. And that's just the difference. And if it's going to be a 2 to 3 year deal, because that's probably what it's going to be, a 2-year, 3-year extension, if we get it done, that's fine. He still has these linemen. Look at Van Roten. Van Roten is 36 years old, and he's finally starting to break down. It might be 37. I don't know. But that's still 6 years older than what Van Roten is. I think that Jermaine Eluemunor is still going to be a good right tackle the next 3 to possibly even 4 years. So that's a no-brainer for me. Don says no nonsense guy like Tomlin will freak out coaching with this team. He said the clown show above him would drive him crazy. I think, but also Tomlin comes in with a lot of cachet. Tomlin could actually walk into those offices and tell the Mariners to shut up. You hired me to do a job. Let me do my job. Shut up. Sit back, sign checks, and collect money. Tomlin got the cachet to do something like that, in my opinion. He's already a part of the extended family, because we know the Rooney's and the Maras are kind of, a married family. It's already, and we see that we've been trying to chase the Rooney's for whatever, since forever, even though we're an older team than them. But I'm just sitting there like, Tomlin would be perfect, man. And then a lot of people that we talk about got to straighten up. Perfect segue. Finally, we're going to get to the Abdul Carter, man. We about to get into Abdul Carter. Mark Thompson says, I think Eluemunor has a 2-year, $14 million contract. Yeah, I believe $7.5, $7.5, something like that. Yeah, like $7-8 million, I think is what he's making. Because I know you told me on the other show and I forgot. C. Mully says Eluemunor's deal may be wrapped up in a bow. If you feel me, Dad. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Wrapped up in a bow. If you feel. Again, I like Marcus Bowe. I think he's going to be promising. I think we still need him as that swing tackle with AT. And shout out to AT for being healthy. Knock on wood. Also say some prayers that he continues to be healthy. But yeah, I like having Marcus Bowe. I also like depth, because once you get rid of, if you do let Eluemunor walk, Marcus Bowe becomes a starter. And then where's some of your depth that you have behind that? And we don't have a lot of money just to be signing depth or taking chances on people with depth. For me, James Hudson, another failed signing by Joe Schoen. He can't even get a jersey on Saturday. He's in an active, healthy scratch making $6 million. We just burned that money up. We don't have any depth, so if you sign Eluemunor, you still keep that depth with Marcus Bowe being the swing tackle. To me, it just makes sense, man. It just makes sense to get that Eluemunor deal done. And then once you get that deal done, you can start talking about Flott and Wan'Dale Robinson after that. Because as much as we like Wan'Dale Robinson and seeing him flash and all that, he's still limited. He's still 5'8". When you see him going down for the one-on-one 50-50 balls, he's not the target for that. And we saw that. And then you have a lot of people that are arguing and say that you can find a Wan'Dale Robinson or either a taller Wan'Dale Robinson in the draft for a lot less money. I like Wan'Dale Robinson. I want him to continue to be a New York Giant, but the money just is funny right now, and we don't have the depth. So there's other positions that probably going to take precedence over Wan'Dale Robinson. And it's funny too because Cordell Flott is not. When you think about the positions, Cordell Flott as a cornerback is not better than Wan'Dale Robinson as a wide receiver. But what position is more important to the Giants right now? Because once you get Malik Neighbors back, you're most likely keeping Isaiah Hodgins next year. Jalen Hyde is probably gone. Darius Slayton, if you can't move him, he's going to be here. You're looking to get wide receivers in the draft that could possibly step in. Let's see what happens. All right, so let's get to Carter. Let's get to Abdul Carter, man. I remember people telling me that Abdul Carter was a carbon copy of Micah Parsons. He's the same, him and Micah Parsons. He might even be better than Micah Parsons. That's the type of crazy stuff that we were hearing. That's the type of crazy stuff that we were subscribing to going into the draft. I remember people arguing with me over who the third overall pick would be. Obviously, this is before we traded up to try to get Jackson Dart. People know that I was a big Shedeur Sanders fan, still am, but I was a little bit delusional in my thoughts, still to be determined. But they told me that Abdul Carter was the one. Generational talent. They told me also when I said I wanted to move Abdul Carter to middle linebacker, they told me you're crazy. You don't take a middle linebacker with the third overall pick. Fast forwarded how many months later, right? 8 months. What will be 8 months later? Abdul Carter, even though he's getting pressures galore, the most pressures for leading all rookies in pressures. You know, he finally has a first full sack, 13th week in the season. But now we're starting to see all of this stuff about him getting fines, obviously discipline, getting kept out of series, getting kept out of quarters 2 weeks in a row. And then we hear videos, we hear reports about him sleeping, missing meetings and stuff like that. And I just go back and I think about when they were talking about what number he was going to pick. And some people said, give him 56. And there's an age gap in that, I'm sure. But not even people, some people my age even thought he could wear 56. And then you fast forward it now, and you're like, what were we thinking at the time? Lawrence Taylor, arguably the best football player ever, definitely the best defensive player in history. We were going to give a rookie we were thinking about, or if he would have gave his blessing, they were going to allow him to wear 56. Man. And to see where it is now. Obviously, he has not played to the level that a lot of people expected him to play. A lot of people, we blame it on coaching. Defensive coordinator was trash. How he played the edge rushers is trash. I understand that. And who knows, maybe the next head coach and the next defensive coordinator gets the best out of Abdul Carter. But before we can even think about 2026, the kid has to mature. The kid has to get serious. And for the people out there that are enablers, that don't hold players accountable, like Joe Schoen saying this kid is 21, he's a rookie. No, you're an enabler. You created a culture in the building where you allowed players to get away with certain things, and you can't allow that to happen. Because once one player feels that they can do something and they get away with it, the next time another player has a chance or has a decision to make where, you know what, I saw what happened with Abdul. It's not going to be. I can afford skipping this meeting or being late. I'm not. I'm not going to. I'm not going to wake up 5 minutes early to beat the traffic to get to. They start to make these decisions because they seen somebody else do it, and people will say, well, Lawrence Taylor fell asleep in meetings. Lawrence Taylor did this. He's not Lawrence Taylor. If he played like Lawrence Taylor on the field, maybe he can get away with sleeping in a meeting or two. But he is not Lawrence Taylor. He is not. And it's crazy to me that it took him to play the way that he's been playing for people to see that. Like, it kills me that people didn't have enough respect for Lawrence Taylor to just dismiss the whole conversation of getting the number 56. Some people had, well, what was it? Phil Simms almost gave up the number 11 till his family talked him out of it. Like, no, these players got to earn this. Like, as bad as the New York Giants have been, there's still history here with the New York Giants. It's still history. You got guys like Lawrence Taylor. You got guys like Carl Banks, Leonard Marshall. You got those guys. Countless names. Strahan, OC, Tuck. Countless guys. And I know I'm leaving off a lot of people's names, but I'm just saying there's history here. You can't just give things to people. You can't just give things to rookies because of what they did in college. It's a different level of play. So, I mean, sorry about the rant, but it pisses me off, man. It pisses me off. Getting back to some of this Eluemunor talk, Boat Josh, it depends on the money. He's just above average right tackle. We just have low standards. No, he's better than that, Boat Josh. I'm sorry. I look at PFF. I see the grades, and when you look at his grades on PFF, it grades out to being, to your point, average. But we're talking about on the game when you see him playing. Why does the quarterback have time? Why is that lane open? What's happening to the defender that he's blocking? He's doing a fantastic job. And the crazy thing about it is if the New York Giants let him walk, he won't be a free agent for long. There's certain players that we might look at and say, yeah, we overrate our players. Jermaine Eluemunor is not one of those guys, in my opinion. He's a really good right tackle. Like a really good right tackle. And I think if we let him walk, I think it's a mistake. But listen, I respect your opinion on that. But when I just think that he's better than that. I don't think that's us with our Giants blinders on, looking at Jermaine Eluemunor he's better. No, I think he will be good no matter where he goes. Like, Jermaine Eluemunor is a starter on a lot of teams, not just the Giants. That's a way that you can look at things too. When you look, the way that you can tell if we're overrating players is ask yourself, insert whatever name, this player, how would he look on such and such team? How many teams would he start on? Jermaine Eluemunor is a starting right tackle on probably 50% of the teams in the league, if not more than that. Like, he's better than a lot of right tackles out there. Excuse me. Tyrone says Abdul looking like a mirage. Yeah. Big Moose says, like Carl Banks said, grow up, grow the F up. And shout out to Carl Banks too, man. I saw the clip that he said that he walks in the building now and like players are giving the side eye and stuff like that. Like, certain things piss me off, right? And it takes a lot for me to get mad. Like the Giants, actually, I'm like, in my personal life, it takes me a lot to get mad. When it comes to the New York Giants football, I can flip on a flip of a dime. But when Carl Banks said he's walking in the building and players are looking at him with the side eye, like, imagine the audacity of these players. These players that have never won anything. They got ping pong tables. They out here flipping coins and beer pong tables, and we see it on social media when they drop all these games and stuff that they're playing. Like, they imagine these same guys that got 2 wins this season looking at Carl Banks with the side eye because he criticized them or critiqued them said they needed to be better. This is Carl Banks, 2-time Super Bowl winner. He should be a Hall of Famer. Lord willing, he gets in there under the senior title, whatever that thing is. This is Carl Banks. I remember the Super Bowl. Well, I don't remember because I was 3 at the time. But I remember watching that Super Bowl, replays of that Super Bowl. The New York Giants ain't winning that Super Bowl without Carl Banks. That first half, Carl Banks was a monster out there against the Denver Broncos in '86. One of the best playoff runs ever. And you got the nerve to give this man a side eye because he told you to play better, to do your job. The guy, like, how many wins has this team had since 2022? And you're going to tell a 2-time Super Bowl, well, you're going to look at a 2-time Super Bowl champion sideways? Are you kidding me? That's what the coach is different. And I'm glad that Carl Banks said what he said. I'm glad he said what he said. I'm glad he called out Dexter Lawrence. I'm glad he's calling out Abdul Carter. Grow up. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You get paid millions of dollars. Millions of dollars to play a game that we love, but millions of dollars to play a game. You get, like, you don't get paid to play the game. You get paid to show up to practice. You get paid to show up to your meetings, to pay attention, for the walkthroughs, there for your rehab. That's what you get paid for, all of the hard stuff. And then you have fun at the games. But that's why you get paid all that money. So if you can't stay awake in a meeting, but you get paid millions of dollars because guess what? That's your job. I don't want to hear it. And for players, whoever the players are, I don't care if maybe players watching. Whoever is giving Carl Banks the side eye, get the hell out of here. You've done nothing. You've done nothing since you've been here. I don't care who it is. Just name a person. The best player on the team, you can name them. They've done nothing since they've been here. So the audacity of looking at Carl Banks sideways, get the hell out of here. I'm sorry. JDJ says Carter didn't deserve LT's number, but we all know LT was definitely late and missing those same defensive meetings. But with LT, it didn't matter because he was a beast on the field. Also, there's stories out there. They said that Lawrence Taylor would be asleep, and Bill Belichick could call on him, throw him to the wolves to break down the play, and he would still break down the play like he wasn't asleep. Lawrence Taylor was a ahead of his time, a physical freak, and he did all that for the most part under the influence. Respectfully. But that's he's a legend. It's different. But even to that point, JDJ, you said, well, we know damn well the LT was late. He earned it. The play on the field, he earned it. He shouldn't have fell asleep. He shouldn't have done all those things. But the play on the field was what it was. Miss Aveline says the Giants are not a daycare. Yeah. Also, this type of crap divides locker rooms. It does. It does. Because you have the people that side with the rookie, and then you have the leaders on the team that maybe they don't want to be as abrasive. Shout out to Brian Burns, man. Brian Burns said, and he keeps it professional. Brian Burns kept it professional. He said, he knows better. He knows what he needs to do. He just got to do it. Dexter Lawrence said, you got to grow up. So I'm happy that these guys are starting to say things, because even within what I'm saying, Carl Banks versus the players now, even some of the players now are more accomplished than what Abdul Carter. Like Dexter Lawrence was damn near an all-pro. I think he got robbed and got cheated. Brian Burns was the sack leader for a portion of the season. But these guys have earned nothing. And they have the sense of entitlement that, for me, is crazy. And if you don't have the right person or bring the right person in the building, it's going to continue to happen. So instead of, so just like when we got Tom Coughlin, right? We needed somebody to come in here and be that stern, strict type of coach. So so when you look at this coaching cycle now, when you look at the names like Chris, all of the hot names, Shula's, the Halfleys, all of these hot names. Now you're looking to see if they have that extra characteristic of being a disciplinary. So we might not even get the best coach to fit the New York Giants just because we've let all of this other wild and crazy stuff happen for the New York Giants. So that's just my opinion. We'll see what happens, man. I think we do find the right coach, hopefully. But it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off when I heard that comment. Harry Carson's another one that's a fact. Hall of Famer. Harry Carson. 53. Yeah, man. Come on. Keith Hamilton is another one. You keep the names coming, man. Keith Hamilton. Like there's names. There's names. You got Oates. You got all of them, man. Bavaro was tough as hell. Like it was a physicality that New York had. The Big Blue Wrecking Crew. The name might sound corny now, but it meant something in the 80s. And we need to find that again. We don't need to keep trying to force it. It has to happen naturally, and hopefully it does. Mark Thompson says, I think if Brasillo stays, Eluemunor stays, that's one thing that needs to happen. Whoever the new head coach is, hopefully they look at Brasillo and they decide to keep him. He has this offensive line playing the best that is looked in over a decade. And guess what? It's the same exact players that were here last year. It took 2 years for Brasillo to get this line cooking. Better quarterback play does it too. But when you look at this offensive line, it's the same exact offensive line as last year. So it has to be the coaching. Has to be. So I hope whoever the next coach is, that Carmen Brasillo, is a guy that they keep. Like I said, there's always one survivor. Always. JDJ says, Dash did it, brother. You like it. Hold on. Dash, did it bother you like it bothered me to hear players in the background playing ping pong during Dart's interview? I think at that moment I realized I'm unk now. I don't know how old you are, JDJ, but I've realized that my patience level has gotten shorter the older I've gotten. There's certain things that I care about now that I didn't care about not too long ago. I don't like people parking in front of my house. I don't like people's dogs, digging up the dirt in the front yard if I see them. I don't like my kids leaving the lights on in the bathroom or the fans. For Christmas gifts, Father Day's gifts, I like to get like lawn mowers, hedge trimmers. So I'm definitely unk. And to me, certain things piss me off. Certain things piss me off. You're 100% right. And it could be, or you could be an unk. Miss Aveline says, pay them by performance. True. Hold on. With Goldie, shout out to Goldie. He says they need to tell him he won't play if he's not going to show up for meetings and practice. Yeah, you gotta. If it happens again, you got to make him inactive. You don't even let him get a jersey. Let him be a healthy scratch. That's what you do. Pardon me. He was at the locker room. He told everybody shit happens. Said it twice. Shit happens. Part of my French for, it's a late night though. And he said, I get it now. I get it now. Now that was cool. That was cool when I thought it was only the second time it happened. But now that we found out, again, this is Albert Breer's article, that Brian Dable also fined him multiple times before Mike Kafka did what he did. No, that's an issue. That's a problem. And they let him get away with it, and they have to, like, it's almost like cold turkey. You got to stop it, and whatever if it happens again, like the The punishment has to fit the crime. We're losing anyway. New York Giants are losing anyway. We're losing with Abdul Carter. If we need to discipline him and sit him out for a game and we lose, it is what it is. It is what it is. But he got to learn. And again, I say this respectfully. Again, I don't play I'm not a player in the NFL. I'm not a millionaire. And that's the one thing that these players will tell us regular folks, or shut up, you don't make no money. Or shut up, you never played the sport. Well, I played the sport, but I'm just saying, not at the NFL level. But no, man, do your job. Mature. And what was the thing they said? You can't have that streamer lifestyle. You're a football player. You get paid to play football. So play. We've seen these guys. What Kyler Murray, the freaking Call of Duty. He can't. He's not even studying plays. He's playing Call of Duty. Look at him. He can't even beat out Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett has Arizona looking better than Kyler Murray. Like, these players got to learn, man. Whatever you did in college, whatever you did in high school, how good you were, people praising you and stuff like that. No, because you saw what happens. Look at Abdul Carter now. People are calling him a bust. This is probably the first time he ever felt real criticism in his life. He was a man everywhere, most likely. I don't know what he did in high school, but I'm assuming he was a man at Penn State. They gave him the number 11. When you're the number 11, you're the man. Now you got people calling saying you might be a bust. Hopefully that hits home for him. Hopefully the way he thinks about it now is not the way he thought about it yesterday. And he'll be better for it. Banks and Tippett should be in the Hall of Fame. That's a fact. Got about Tippett. Let's see what we got. So I got through all of my topics. I'm gonna open up the chat for topics. So you guys let me know what you guys want to talk about before we close this thing out. D-Dan says Shane is cooked. Ant says tolerance versus production. That's a fact. Big Moo said it's called work for a reason. It's that simple, right? It's called work for a reason. Show up and do your jobs and be grateful. That's a fact. Shout out to A-Track. Said, what up, fam? What's going on, A-Tracks? Miss Aveline says we need more professionalism. That's a fact. From the top down. From the top down, man. We just need to be better. Wellington turning over in his grave. This Giants are being ruined right now. Like my oldest son has been alive for both the 2000 Super Bowls, right? I've been alive for all four. My oldest son has been alive for two. My second son has been alive for one. And then my youngest son hasn't seen the Giants Super Bowl yet. My youngest son, all he knows is the New York Giants suck. That's all he knows. The New York Giants suck. Dad, did we win? No, son, we didn't win. Dad, did we win? No, son, we didn't win. But we were winning. I know, son. When are we going to win? When are we going to win? It's crazy, man. All my youngest knows is the Giants losing. And that's crazy. Like, he got his Giants gear. He goes to school. He got friends that make fun of him because the Giants suck. He can't even go to school with his head held high because they know he's a Giants fan. He got his Giants sweater. He's proud. He was proud until these mean-ass kids told him that his team sucked. He didn't know any better. And then once the kids are mean as hell. And then once he realized that the New York Giants sucked, he stopped wearing his jacket. He stopped wearing his hat. He didn't want to wear his sweater on occasion. He didn't want to wear his hoodie to school. And me as his father, I'm sitting here like, I made this decision for him to be a New York Giants fan. It's been passed down. And I'm passing down pain. We got to do something, man. We got to turn this thing around, man. We got to get this young fan base, all these kids, something to cheer for. Some of these kids, they had Odell, they had Saquon Barkley, through all of these bad times. They had Eli Manning for all these bad times. Now you hopefully it's Malik Neighbors. You got Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbull, Spider Burns. Spider-Man is my son's favorite character. So when we got Brian Burns, and then we were playing that Chargers game, he got the sack on Justin Herbert, and he did the Spider-Man shoot the webs. My son was jumping out. He was jumping out of his chair. This is the happiest I ever seen him as a Giants fan. To turn around and just keep losing after that is crazy. Brandon says, Abdul Carter. That's crazy. Abdul is crazy. That's hilarious, man. Shout out to the 173 people in the building. Please, please, please make sure you hit that like button. If you are not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We're about 200 shy of that. Again, when I started this channel, I just wanted 100 subscribers. And then it was 1,000 subscribers. And this channel was growing, and it's all because of you guys, man. I thank you for the love and support, as always. The channel was nothing without you guys. And hopefully you guys know that. And that's for like all of us content creators out there. None of these guys, none of us sitting here on YouTube, guys, girls, whatever, that talk New York Giants football. We are nothing without the people tuning in to vibe with us, chill with us, and watch these videos. So hopefully they know it, because I know for sure that I know it. And I know a lot of content creators that feel the same way that I do. Shout out to them. Miss Adams said, watch films, not streams. Yeah, it's crazy. Everybody want to be Casanat. Everybody want to be Duke Dennis. Like, no, do you understand that those streamers want to be you? They want to play sports. They want to get paid millions of dollars to play sports. Rappers want to be streamers. Rappers used to want to be athletes. Athletes want to be rappers. And now everybody want to be streamers. I don't blame them. Some of these streamers make more than athletes. It is what it is. Knicks win. Thank you. Who they had to Charlotte, and I had a parlay. I haven't checked my parlay. How many points did tell me Brunson had more than 25 points, please, or 25 points. Please let me know how many points Brunson had. That's one of my parlays. If he got more than 25, I'm in business. Shout out to FanDuel. For those people that gamble out there, gamble responsibly. First off, FanDuel, where you at, man? Holla at me. Tyrone says, I'm suffering along with your son, but thankfully, sticks and stones. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Listen, and just think of, and for me, right? For me, I remember this summer I was excited about this team, especially once preseason happened. This team was putting up points. We had possibly a future quarterback. We had Russell Wilson looking good in the preseason. And I'm just like sitting there, and I told my oldest son, I said, I think we might finally be good this year. And the New York Giants got me lying to my kids. They made me a liar to my kids, thinking that the New York Giants were going to be good this year. They made me lie to my kids. And guess what? I know better. In 2026, you will not see any optimism from me until the first game is won. That's a fact. Now, I might say this guy might be good, that guy might be good. I'm liking the way these draft picks look. Well, when it comes to predicting, once the schedule comes out, I'm not putting out a prediction. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not falling into that, because the New York Giants I've fallen on my face too many times messing with these New York Giants. Straight up. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much. Thank you for hitting the like button too, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to my man Jaylee in the building. What's going on, Jaylee? Say what up, Dash. Hey, man, I'm about done with Theo Johnson shaking my... Listen, what I tell you guys about Theo Johnson, man. I always hope for the best. I always root for these players too. Theo Johnson, man. He just came off a fantastic game, and then he turned around and he turned back into a pumpkin. I've never seen a guy have fantastic catches and bad catches. I mean, or I should say bad drops. That one he dropped in the end zone, he didn't even drop. He didn't even have he had a chance, but he didn't have a chance. That one in the end zone, it went right through his hands. right through his hands. I still believe that Theo Johnson has a higher ceiling than Daniel Bellinger. I just think that Daniel Bellinger is still better than him right now. And that's not saying a lot. Shout out to Daniel Bellinger, too. Because every time Daniel Bellinger has a drop, boy, they let me have it. Pause. I've been talking so much trash for Daniel Bellinger that when he drops a pass, and he hasn't dropped many, they let me have it on Twitter whenever Daniel Bellinger drops it. Well, luckily for me, he's only dropped like 3 passes this year. Maybe 3. Might have been 2. But that was his fault, I should say. I don't know. Ant says, I rock with you, Dash, your official tissue. Nah, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that, man. One thing I will say about this channel is I try to keep it as real as possible. When I'm wrong, I admit that I'm wrong. When I'm wrong, I absolutely apologize for being wrong. And I always tell people I don't get paid to be right. That's the GM's job. That's the coach's job. And whenever I am talking positively about this team is because I really believe in what I'm saying. Now, if they make me change my mind and change my opinion, that's up to the Giants. But I'm always keep it real. I'm always keep it official and true to myself. So I appreciate that, Ann. Thank you for that comment. All right, Brunson. Thank you. I know my parlay hit, so that's fantastic. Shout out to Kenya. Thank you very much for letting me know that Brunson had 26 points. Look at that. I had him for 25. He got 26. Thank you. Got some good news. Thank you. Giannis to New York. I don't know about that. I'll believe it when I see it. Dane, the beautiful monster, says, peace, Dash. Love the show. Love your perspective. I'm curious, would you pay market value for Jermaine, or are you in favor of putting Bo there? Apologies if you already discussed just off work. No problem, man. You ain't got to apologize for nothing. Listen, we vibing right now. We already an hour and a half. This show was supposed to be an hour long, but we vibing. I'm chilling. It depends on what it is. Like, I can't see paying $20 million to Jermaine Eluemunor. Now, if we did it, obviously it's about cap hits and how much is a bonus and how much room we have to operate, or how much cap space we have to operate after that. So you can pay him whatever as long as you can fit it within the cap. That's one thing. But I do believe, so I'm not really answering your question, but I'm answering your question. If we do let him walk, I do believe that Marcus Bo can step in there and be a good right tackle. But to my point earlier, and I know you said you missed it, I believe that Marcus Bo is going to be a good right tackle. I believe he has what it takes to be a good right tackle. I know right now for a fact that Jermaine Eluemunor is a right tackle. And when I look at this quarterback situation, we got a quarterback on a rookie contract. We're going to we're definitely getting a new head coach. That is most likely going to be a new regime. I want this team to be ready to go. And to my point to that is this. It does not take ever to turn the team around. Again, the New England Patriots were trash last year. They were trash last year. They picked 4th and we picked 3rd in the draft. Like we had the same record. They were trash. And now they're at the top of the AFC. And when you look at that roster, when you look at the name of that roster, the names don't jump off the screen or jump off the page. So when I look at the New York Giants and I see how many names jump off the page, you get the right coach in here with these guys, and you can see this team get turned around in 1 year if you got the right guys in the building. And there's not another Vrabel out there that's going to walk through the doors at 1925 Giants Drive, but there is somebody that is out there that is supposed to be the next New York Giants head coach that is going to turn this thing around. We just got to make sure we pick the right person. I know I got long-winded. Hopefully I answered your question. And I gave you a little bit more after that. Pause. Vaporizer says, what's good, Dash? Could you do a video in your head coach favorites? Yeah, I'm working on that right now. I have a short list right now, guys that are available. Chris Shula is number 1 on my list. It was Aubrey Pleasant, but I don't think he gets a head coaching job this cycle. But I like Aubrey Pleasant a lot. But right now it's Chris Shula. That will be my top choice. After that, guys that other people are listing, they got Halfley, the coordinator, defensive coordinator from Green Bay. They got Lou Anarumo, who's the defensive coordinator. Where's Lou? Lou's at? Lou's Cincinnati? Where's Lou at? I can't remember where Lou's at. Indiana? Lou Anarumo, whatever. And he actually was a former coach for the New York Giants. I think when Judge was here. Some people are saying Steve Spagnuolo now. I believe that if I see when I see it, I don't think he's going to be a good head coach. I think he's just a fantastic defensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator from Seattle, also on that list. So when I do drop that video, it might be like a 20-minute video. I usually don't do long format videos. I leave that up to the streams. But yeah, that's my list right now. But Shula's first on my list right now. My wish list would be Brian Flores though. If they can figure out the lawsuit and settle and be okay with it, it would be Brian Flores would be number one on my list. Brian Flores, and it's not just because he's from New York, and it would be a good story because he's from New York and the whole stuff that's happening. No, it's not about. It's about somebody that can come in here and be the man, and that's what Brian Flores was. He is. When he went to Miami, he ruffled feathers because he didn't want to do what the GM wanted to do. He didn't want to do what ownership wanted to do. And that's the only reason why he didn't last in Miami. It wasn't like he wasn't successful. And then he got blackballed. We all know that happened. And then he's slowly working his way back. But I like Brian Flores. I don't think it's going to happen. Shout out to my man James in the building. What's going on, James? At Big Dash Salute. Salute to you, James, as always. Appreciate you. Q Burrow Diplomat says Dash line. He going to make a prediction. You know damn well I'm going to make a prediction. You know, Dad, listen, I told you guys. That's funny. You called me on my bullshit. That's crazy. Pardon my French. I don't like to curse, but it is late night. Now, that's crazy because I most likely am going to call a prediction. I told you, man, it's a cycle. I go through the cycle, unfortunately, every year. And the Giants do this to me every year. So by the end of the season, I'm ready to clean house, right? And then we get to Senior Bowl. We get to the Combine. I get hyped for all the prospects. I get hyped for the draft and the possibility of who we might be drafted. Then the draft happens. I fall into the category of, oh, yeah, I like this pick. I like that pick. Maybe we have something. We get into mini camp, training, OTAs, training camp. I got a little bit of hope. You know what I mean? And then we get into the season, and then I fall on my face again. And then gradually between September to December, I just get mad again. I'm waiting for the cycle to be broken. It's like teenage pregnancies. I'm trying to break the cycle. Respectfully, shout out to the teenage mothers out there. A lot of people in my family was teenage mothers, and they're damn good people, damn good mothers. But you know what I'm talking about. Big Blue Podcast. Shout out to Big Blue Podcast. It's happy to be back. Dash School broadcast. Is this Ryan? Let me know if this is Ryan. I can't tell right now because the picture's too small. As the broadcasting had me with no time, but happy I found time to come back to podcasting and happy to be tuning in again. Now, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And I'm happy that you got time again. You know, it is what it is. Who's inconsistent? Who you talking about? I done forgot now. I done talked about so many things now. Brunson, 26 points. Yeah, appreciate that. At least I got that. At least I got a little bit of change from the parlay. Nothing big, just a little bit. Was it Theo Johnson, 6'5", every physical attribute, none of the mental ones, can't have it all. Now, Theo Johnson definitely gifted athlete. He is a double catcher, though. He double catches if he doesn't drop it, he's double catching it. I don't know if I ever seen a real clean catch from Theo Johnson. Even that touchdown against the Chicago Bears where he broke all those tackles, he was a double catch. He is a double catching something. But I do think, like I said, I think he has a high ceiling. I think he can be good. I put him on a jugs machine 24/7. Luann says, I have the schedule for next season. You got the opponents, but we don't got the schedule. We know who the opponent's going to be. My man Don says, my friend's uncle was the backup quarterback for the Giants in the 60s. Gary Wood. Shout out to Gary Wood. I've seen a lot, including the only team whose punter misses punts and kicker misses the ball on field goal before Super Bowls, baby. Now, that's a fact. Due to all the pain, there is some pleasure. There are some highlights to the lowlights for sure. That's what makes us Giants fans. I understand the question. Big Dust is wearing OT. This is what would look like. Talk about Shane replacement draft. Yeah. Yep. Brandon says Brian Flores is the answer. Mark says I think Eluemunor is going to fetch around 18 to 20 million. Yeah, man, it's going to be high. It would have been a lot cheaper if we would have got that deal done. We probably would have saved at least $4 million. What was that, like 25%? We would have saved at least $4 million if we would have got that deal done in the summer. And who knows? Maybe he didn't want to negotiate in the summer. Maybe he was betting on himself, like he bet on himself when he took the 2-year contract because we wanted to sign him for 3, and he said he wanted 2 contracts. Obviously, he wanted to double down and get another paycheck, and it's going to work out for him. He's going to get paid. And salute to him, growing family and everything. I got nothing but love for Jermaine Eluemunor, whether he's a Giant or not a Giant. I respect that man. Not a lot of players on social media have that type of presence that Jermaine Eluemunor has, where he's actually engaging, regular people. Like you see some of these Giant players, they only, interact with other players. And no matter what us fans say to them, best of luck today. Some people don't even get a like from some of these players. Some of these players are told not to even interact with some of us too. Pat Hanlon. I know for a fact Pat Hanlon blocked Tyrone Tracy from coming on, some people's shows out here, some content creator shows. When before his rookie year. I ain't gonna tell all the business, but they know who they are. They had it locked down. They had them scheduled. I was supposed to be on the show too. Last thing we know, they couldn't do it. Somebody from the Giants organization blocked it. Process of elimination, Pat Hanlon had to be the guy. So I'm about 99% sure that it was Pat Hanlon. Respectfully. And says, what GM would you be interested in? That's a harder question than the head coaches, because I have not taken like a deep dive into all of these teams' front offices. I'll be lying to you if I had a bunch of names right now. I don't. I probably won't do that until maybe I'll do that this week. Maybe I'll do that. That'll give me something to do the next couple of days, is look at some of these front offices and see who some of those assistants are. Obviously, teams that are successful right now, like LA, like poaching anybody from the Rams organization is probably going to be gold. What San Fran does, because no matter what happens to them, injury bug, they're still successful. They still find talent. So it's a lot of teams out there. That's how I would start my search. Would be look at a lot of these successful teams that have rookies that are impact players, that have free agencies that are impact players, and see who those people that are in the front office for those guys, and see who could possibly be, looking for that GM, maybe like an assistant GM, maybe a senior director of player personnel, something like that, where you might be able to poach them, from that organization. That's how I would start my search, and that's how I start my research. Brother, what's going on, brother? Brother BKL Sport Entertainment Show says, "What's good, Big Dash? I just saw your prediction, but you must be tripping. I hope you lost your fantasy. That's crazy. I don't play fantasy. That's one thing I do. I don't play fantasy. It's been 3 years since I played fantasy. That is Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan. How you doing? How you doing, man? Glad to see you back. Luann says Gruden's name is floating out there. Flores doesn't like taking orders. What head coach likes to take orders, in all honesty, especially when you disagree with what they're saying. Miami wanted him to tank. Miami forced Tua on him. And then look, 5 years later, Tua's looking like he's not the answer. And Brian Flores was right about that 4 years ago, before they paid him all that money. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. But Gruden is funny too, because again, I just don't create Giants content. I actually watch other Giants content creators. I watched Jordan Renan and Bobby Skinner, and they actually had an interview with John Gruden. And it's funny too, because you can tell they didn't ask him flat out if he would be interested in the Giants job, the head coaching job. But you can see like he almost wanted them to ask him if he wanted it, because he was smiling. We said somebody's going to be interested. Somebody has to be. Why wouldn't they be interested? Do you have Jack? And he started rattling off all these names of players and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't know. He might not have answered them, but I believe he's interested for sure. John Gruden just wants to get back in the NFL. Period. That man lives, breathes football. He would love it. Now, do I think he'd be a good fit for the Giants? I don't know. For me, I wouldn't do it, but I would understand if they did it. 100 grand. I see you. What's good? Eric James Johnson says, when you going to have a mock? I've been going back and forth on mock drafts, man. Maybe I'll do one. I don't want to promise. I don't want to, because it's still early. Like when we do mock drafts this early, it's just for entertainment purposes. You're not really, you're not really getting a good, I guess, prediction on who we're gonna take, because free agency hasn't happened. But once free agency happens, then you can probably get an idea of who we might draft and stuff like that. But I've been doing mock draft. I probably done over 200 mock drafts already since like October. So maybe this Saturday, since it's going to be a bye week, I do have the Friday late night. The Saturday late night Giants talk. I titled it "The Bye Week Blues," so make sure you guys tune in for that Saturday night. Maybe if we got time, maybe I do a mock draft if the internet want to act right. For some reason, man, like my bandwidth is straight, but then when I start doing PFF and they got all those ads that jump in, stuff start freezing and stuff like that. That's what made me stop doing it, and that's why I started doing the pre-recorded mock drafts instead of the live mock drafts. But I don't mind doing it, man. It'll take forever though. I'm just letting you guys know that when I do mock drafts, like I do some quick mock drafts. But when I'm doing mock drafts, like before I go to sleep, I do mock drafts. I'm usually doing a mock draft. Like it takes me like 30 minutes to do a mock draft. And I'm not even talking, and I'm talking to myself about players and stuff like that. I can't imagine doing a live mock draft the way that I do mock drafts. It'd probably take me 2 hours to do it if I want to talk and explain, talk about players and where they came from and their attributes and stuff like that. Because I can get into the numbers when it comes to college football. I watch a lot of college football. But I got to remind myself to just, obviously people are watching. Let me just try to make it a little bit quicker, but we'll see what happens. Shout out to my man D Illa in the building. If you're not subscribed to my man D Illa, what are you doing? First of all, what are you doing? If you like real, uncut, short and to the point content, that's D Illa. Shout out to my man D Illa. Brother says it was crazy that we're Giants fans and we lost those games. Seriously, thank goodness we literally off this off season. Thank God. We're off to the off season. Yeah, for the most part. Ms. Aveline says, how do you come up with your content? I mean, the headlines are the headlines. Truthfully, I mean, when I do my videos, regular videos, not doing lives, it's whatever happened that day. I react to it, have my opinions, and I record it. For the live streams, I like to try to, have some talking points, but I feed off of you guys, man. I feed off of the chat. What you guys want to talk about is what I want to talk about. And usually those are the entertaining things. So that I try to keep it simple. Because I'm having fun at the end of the day. This is not a full-time job for me. This is me having fun. I don't push out a whole bunch of contract because my life depends on it. No, I talk about the Giants when because I like to do it, not because I need to do it. So I don't have pressure like that. Hopefully that answers your question. But it's just whatever happens that day. Like I work from home, so my studio is in my home. So if something happens while I'm at my work desk, I go right in the studio, and that's how I can get out my content so fast. Luann says Gruden loves Dart. Now that's a fact. Mr. Lester said, peace dash. What's going on, Mr. Lester? Miss Aveline, do Giants content creators get along well? I can't speak for all Giants content creators. I got a pretty good relationship with most of the guys. I've been on most of their channels. I've been on Bobby Skinner's channel. I've been on Cop Pizzle's channel. I've been on New York Revival. Way back in the day, I was on The Entertainers. That was like back in 2023. I haven't been on Bad Dog, but me and Bad Dog have talked behind scenes. So for the most part, I don't have any issues. I think I got good. I've been on Fireside Giants. I got no issues. Shout out to my man Tim. I've been on Tim's channel too. Tim was one of the first people to show me a lot of love. Big Pat and Big Blue Crew. Shout out to my man Coach Ed if he's still watching. I got a good relationship with people. Shout out to all of you guys, man. My man TP Way, Born for Sports. Me and Ryan haven't got a chance to collab yet, but that's a scheduled thing. But yeah, I try to show love and support to all these content creators, man. Hopefully they return, the same thing. I hope so. Two Giant Goofballs. I did a show with them last year talking about quarterbacks coming out in the draft. So for me, I think I get along with everybody. I don't have any issues with anybody. So it's good. There is a hierarchy. I can say that. Obviously there's some channels that are more popular than others. Shout out to Chat Sports too, because every time Marshall sees me in the comment section, he shows me love too. So yeah, I don't got any issues with anybody. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sports and it's New York Giants. If you beefing over New York Giants, I don't know what to tell you. My next step is I'm trying to get my credentials to go to the Senior Bowl because I want to take it to the next level, man. That's where I'm at right now. So I applied for the Senior Bowl, just keeping it honest with you guys. We'll see if I get approved for it. If I get my credentials, I might be in Mobile in March or February for the Senior Bowl. Shout out to them. Maybe, don't know. See what happens. Also, I work. I got a 9 to 5. So it's all about scheduling and stuff like that. I'm not one of these guys that can make a living off of YouTube. Shout out to David. David says, I love the content. Dash is real. Love tuning in all the way from Australia. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate the love and support all the way from Australia. I got a high school friend that lives in Australia, man. Funny enough, he lives in Sydney. Shout out to my man James Kunzel out there. One of my high school boys, James. Shout out to James. I think we got it, man. So I'm gonna answer a couple more comments. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Again, I was only supposed to do an hour, but it is what it is. I'm vibing with you guys, so I appreciate the love and support. But a couple more comments, and then we're gonna get out of here. Let me see if I make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I did miss a super chat. Shout out to my man Big Move with the $2 super chat. Says Jermaine must stay 2 years, $15 million per, no brainer. If it's $15 million, I'm signing that, no doubt in my mind. If he accepts $15 million, I'm sending him the contract right away. Right away. No doubt in my mind. $15 million sold. Luann says, lucky you work from home. Not sure what you do, but I'm jealous. Now, working from home is cool. I've been working from home since COVID pretty much. So, once COVID happened, because before that I was in the office every day. And then COVID happened and they realized that you don't have to be in the office every day. And so I've been lucky ever since. Working from home is cool. It's cool. I don't miss the commute, that's for sure. I don't miss it. Shout out to my man TP Way said Peach Dash into the chat. Shout out to my man TP. I know you're doing something tomorrow, right? Right. Yeah, I'll be at it. I know I couldn't make it. I apologize for that. But shout out to my man TP Way. I believe he got a live going on tomorrow. I don't know if he put that out yet. If you didn't, I apologize for spilling the beans on you. But yeah, man, make sure you guys show a lot of love and support to all these other fantastic Giants content creators that are also in the chat too, man. Again, my man TP Way, my man Deilla, my man Coach Ed, Ryan's Big Blue Podcast. Who else was in here? A lot of these guys in here. I apologize if I miss your name, and all the people that's watching that's not active in the chat today. But make sure you guys support this Giants content community, man. That's how we make this thing grow. I see other teams and all these other content creators. They build up their community, and I don't see why the New York Giants can't do the same thing. Some of these channels got got more subscribers than the team does on YouTube. So shout out to them, man. Would love to get to that point at some point in time, man, for sure. He said, I'm about to do that right now. That's a fact. Shout out to my man TP, man. That's a hard working Giants content creator right there, man. Make sure you go and subscribe to my man TP Way. That man is consistent and he puts out fantastic work, man. Heart and soul Giants fan, right? I mean Giants fan and also a fantastic Giants content creator. And that's the one thing too, man. Like you really can't do this if you're really not a fan. Because who else is crazy enough to talk New York Giants football in a losing season than a real New York Giant fan and content creator? And it's a lot of us out there doing this every day. And well, not me every day, but you know, I got my times where I go live. But for the team to be this bad, and I can sit here and talk to people for 2 hours and not get bored and feel like I'm entertaining people, and people feel like it's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, hold on a second. So TP Wade says, before you go, Dash, do you believe in Mike Tomlin rumors? I do now. I do now. Hold on a second. All right. All right. Just had to check, make sure everything was good. All right, so I'm gonna get to a couple more of these comments. Sean Jackson says, Dash, I think the Raiders game and Cowboys game is very crucial to Joe Shane's fate. Why do you think that? I'm curious. Why? Oh, you mean our game, not them versus each other. Okay, now I get it. I think his fate is sealed, to be honest. I think it's already over for him, if I'm being honest. I really do. I don't think beating the Raiders does anything because they suck. Now, if we beat the Cowboys at the end of the season and we probably play spoiler to them making the playoffs, it might mean a little bit of something, but by that time, it's too little too late for me. I can't be sold by a couple of wins at the end of the season. Like, we have garbage time in games, but this is like the garbage time in the season. Garbage time. We don't really need these garbage points. Right now, we got the second overall pick. If anything, I'm trading back for a lot of draft capital, and I'm trying to build this team the right way. Get some players, get some cheap talent in the building on rookie contracts, and try to make this team respectable again. At the end of the day, that's where I'm at. All right, but I'm about to get out of here. I do appreciate everybody for vibing with me again. Not Friday, but Saturday night, we got the Late Night Giants Talk. Make sure you guys tune in for that. I'm going to talk about the bye week blues, some of the subjects we're talking about here, plus more. We got some hard decisions to make as far as, are there some players that you would trade that are superstars right now that you would trade for more draft capital in the 2026 draft? We'll see what happens with that. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.